Hi, World History. This is Miss Corey. Welcome to U1-L3 History of Early Humans. Learning targets. Develop a timeline that traces the migration of the earliest humans from Africa to other world regions and understand the evolution of humans and how modern humans study their remains. Your job, you're going to watch this ed puzzle. You're also going to answer the questions. Questions I will ask you during the video today that are in blue text are going to be questions I want to have you answer directly on to ed puzzle. Make sure you're also following along with your study guide because any important concepts on the study guide will be in red text. And of course, if you do have any questions, please let me know. So first of all, let's do some geography. So geography is pretty important to history, so you know where everything is located. On the next few slides, I'm going to show you some maps. You're going to take a guess on what ancient location is where. No Googling, just take your best guess. I'm not having any deductions if you're right or wrong. And then you're also going to label these locations on your map on your study guide as you go. So your map on your study guide is labeled with numbers, and make sure that you write the locations corresponding with the numbers below the map in the legend. All right, here's your first question. Where is Eurasia? You're probably thinking, Eurasia? That's kind of like a weird word. Yeah, it is. It's a mix-up between two words. So it's the mix between Europe and Asia. So when we say, oh, we have 7 continents, we have Europe and we have Asia, but look at the map. They're not 2 separate land masses. They are one giant land mass between Europe and Asia. There's no real things that divide them in the middle. So that's why we call Europe and Asia Eurasia. Here's another good question. Where is the Middle East? That's right. Middle East is going to be right here in the center of our map. So here's more of a zoomed in of the Middle East. So the Middle East is very important, especially when we talk about ancient history, because a lot of the most ancient human civilizations are going to be located within the Middle East. So you have modern day countries in the Middle East, such as Turkey, Iran, Syria, Iraq, Jordan, Israel, Lebanon, Egypt, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Kuwait, the UAE, Oman, and Yemen. Those are all considered the Middle East, and they're also some of the most important archaeological sites in the world. All right, where are the Balkans? Yeah, this one's tricky. So the Balkans are going to be these tiny little countries in Europe off of the Mediterranean Sea. So let's see here. If you zoom in here, you can see like here's Italy, here's the Mediterranean Sea, here's Turkey. The Balkans are going to be all these tiny little countries. Of course, in ancient times, those countries did not exist. This is a modern day map, but it gives kind of a good visual of where the Balkans are located. Where is Anatolia? Yep, Anatolia is going to be located within the Middle East. So we talked about the Middle East before. Specifically, Anatolia is going to be what is the majority of Turkey today. So here's more of a modern map. You can see here's the country of Turkey. Anatolia is going to be this big landmass highlighted out of the orange. Here's another one. Where is the ancient Levant? Yep, that's going to be where A is. So the ancient Levant, which is a topic you probably hear about in the news because it includes things like Israel and Palestine and also the city of Jerusalem. It also includes Lebanon, Syria, Jordan, and Cyprus, which is an island nation. Where is ancient Mesopotamia? Yeah, it is going to be B. It is also located in the Middle East. I told you the Middle East has a lot of really important ancient terms. So Mesopotamia is going to be more specifically in what would be like the modern day country of Kuwait and Iraq. It is going to be along these two super important rivers. One river is called the Tigris, the other one's going to be called the Euphrates. Together, these two rivers supported the most ancient of human civilizations. Um, yeah, we'll talk more about that later. Here's another question. Where is Peru? Yep, Peru is going to be right here. So we'll actually talk about Peru in semester 2, having some of the other most ancient civilizations in North and South America. All right, where is Egypt? Yep, that's where C is. Where is Mexico? Yep, right below the United States. They also have a lot of ancient civilizations. Where is China? Yep, it's going to be D, that giant country right there. All right, so make sure you put these on your map. If you're still doing that, you can pause the video now. If you're done, then let's move on. So let's move on to what the beginnings of history look like. So, when do you think history begins? Right? That's a pretty tough question. You're like, history begins? Man, I don't even know. That might be one of those questions that you would think doesn't actually have an answer, but it actually does have a very defined answer of when history begins. So, history begins with the invention of writing. And the invention of writing occurred about 3,400 to 3,100 BCE. And the really interesting thing about the invention of writing that there are 4 distinct places where writing emerged separately among humankind. The first place would be Mesopotamia. So we talked about that before, Mesopotamia being right about here in the Middle East. Egypt, which is right here. China, which is over here. And then southern Mexico / Guatemala, which would be right over here. All right, prehistory. Prehistory is the time before writing. So pretty much anything before 3,400 BCE is going to be called prehistoric. So one of the most interesting recent finds is actually this skull right here. It's called Omo One. And this is now the most oldest human remains ever found. And it dates back to about 233,000 years ago. And the skull was discovered in Ethiopia. But you don't have to go very far to find prehistory things. For example, the Jeffers petroglyphs are about 7,000 years old, and you can find those in Comfrey, Minnesota. Artifacts. They are human-made objects such as tools and jewelry. Archaeologists study bones and artifacts of humans and also pre-humans. Anthropologists, they study culture, which is a group's way of life. Now, anthropologists can study groups that are still living today, but it also could be the study of groups of people who are long dead. Paleontologists study fossils. So that would be like plant and animal remains preserved in rocks, such as dinosaurs. All right, let's talk about the oldest humanoids found. So, humanoids mean that they aren't 100% human yet, but they're turning into humans. So, the oldest would be someone called Ardi. So, Ardi was a 4.4 million year old female. You can see Ardi's remains right here. And then here is kind of an artist rendition of what Ardi might have looked like. She was found in Ethiopia, and she was found about 46 miles away from another very famous skeleton called Lucy, who was 3.2 million years old. Uh, Artie was biped, which meant that she walked on two limbs, and also a quadped, which meant that she climbed trees with four limbs. She's not human yet, just human-like. We also have Mary Leakey and her team that discovers the prehistoric footprints in Tanzania in 1978. So here's the Leakey family, their husband and wife, and here are the picture of the footprints that they found. They called them the Laetoli footprints, and this belonged to a humanoid, meaning that was a creature that walked upright, and they are 3.6 million years old. All right, so let's talk about hominids. So hominids are unique because they develop technology or ways of applying knowledge, tools, and inventions to meet their needs. All right, so let's play a little game here and just do your best at guessing. I'm not going to grade you if you're right or wrong, but can you put all the human ancestors in order from oldest to newest? So here's the correct order. So it would go D, Homo habilis. They are going to be the oldest of the human ancestors. B is going to be Homo erectus, and then A is the Neanderthals. E is the Cro-Magnons, and then C is the Homo sapiens. So let's talk about each of these. First one, Homo habilis. So Homo habilis were hominids that lived between 2.5 to 1.5 million BCE. And it literally means man of skill. So they were becoming human. They weren't human quite yet, but they did create tools specifically about from lava rock, so obsidian. So here's some examples of obsidian tools. Then you have the Homo erectus. So they're from 1.6 million BCE to 30,000 BCE, and they mean upright man. They were more intelligent and adaptable, and they were the first ones to migrate out of Africa. Then you have the Neanderthals. They're from 200,000 to about 30,000 BCE. Now, they had huge brains, even bigger than our brains now. That does not mean they were smarter. They were not great at communication, but they did have interesting things such as ritual burials, where they would put flowers onto grave sites. They also had huge muscles and a huge body frame. Cro-Magnons. So they were from 40,000 to about 8,000 BCE. They're prehistoric human, but they're pretty much identical to modern humans. There's a few differences about them and their cultures that doesn't make them quite humans yet. They're also classified as Homo sapiens sapiens. Their average height was only 5'1", and they were able to create art. So you think art, right? Like, what art? Really? That's so simple. Like kindergartners and preschoolers do art. Yeah, but art is really important for human history because it was used in cave paintings for various reasons, such as religious ceremonies, hunting rituals, or a form of early writing, which would mean history. Archaeologists have found a flute in a Neanderthal cave in Slovenia, which is in the Balkans, and it was made from a bear femur, and that was 40,000 years old. Think of that, a 40,000-year-old flute. So those Neanderthals were making music, just as the music we listen to today. So all early humans were hunter-gatherers, meaning those whose food supply depended on hunting animals and collecting plant foods. They also would use stone tools. Early humans were nomads, meaning that they were mobile people, so they would move from place to place, foraging and searching for new food resources. So let's talk about the early humans leaving Africa. So hominids started leaving Africa about 125,000 years ago. They would then go into Europe about 33,000 years ago, China 67,000 years ago, Australia 80 or 38,000 years ago, North America about 12,000 years ago, and South America between about 12,000 to 33,000 years ago. So, how do you think archaeologists and anthropologists know about this? You're right. That's a really good question. How do they know about these early humans leaving? Well, kind of like we saw before, footprints, art, flutes made out of bear femurs, um, also skeletal remains, tools. Those are all artifacts that archaeologists have found that tell us when, where, how hominids were on the move. So here's a cool map. So you can see here, it starts here in Africa, kind of towards the Middle East a little bit more, and that humans spread over to Europe, and then to Asia, down through the islands into Australia, up through kind of what would be modern day Russia. Over there was once this land bridge. We will talk about this later, that connected Asia to North America, down through North America, and then down into South America. So, why did early humans leave Africa? So, probably some of the best reasons would be competition with other humans, right? They are hunting, they are gathering. Not all the time nature can help support a large number of humans. So humans had to move to find new resources. Also following animal herds, and to be honest, just human curiosity. We love to explore. So let's talk about the Stone Age. Now, when we talk about the Stone Age, it's actually broken down into two smaller Stone Ages. So there's the first part, which is the Paleolithic Stone Age, and the second part would be the Neolithic Stone Age. So, Paleolithic Age, also called the Old Stone Age. So that was roughly between 2.5 million BCE to 80,000 BCE. And this was the invention of tools, mastery over fire, and the development of language. So, paleo and lithic, what do they even mean? So, paleo means old, and lithic means stone. So, literally, old stone. Then there's the second phase, the Stone Age. That's called the Neolithic Age, or the New Stone Age. So, that was between 80,000 to 3000 BCE. And that's where people learned to polish stone tools, make pottery, grow crops, and raise livestock. So this engraving right here would be from the New Stone Age. So you can see two people sitting in a chair drinking out of straws. So here's an example as well. This is in England. This would be Stone Age houses and what they look like. Well, these are replicas. They're based off of archaeological finds of what their houses probably look like. So you can see here's kind of like that chalky clay for the outside walls. They have a door. They have these kind of grass huts. I mean, they don't look super different than what houses look like today, to be completely honest. And these would be, they started popping up about 2500 BCE during the kind of the last years of the Stone Age. Same thing with Stonehenge. This is a really blurry picture. I don't know why it's so blurry. Anyway, Stonehenge, that's a really another famous seven wonders of the world kind of thing. And that was also built about 2500 BCE. And then you have things called ziggurats. Now, I wish we had more time to talk about ziggurats because they're super cool. They're kind of like the pyramids, like before the pyramids. They're pretty much just giant mounds of dirt, but they're all man-made. So humans hauled up all of this dirt up here to make this giant mound of earth. And you're like, well, that doesn't look super big. Well, to kind of put it more into perspective, so these are steps right here, so what a human is this big. I mean, think how tall that is. It's huge. So this ziggurat's really famous. It's called Tepe Sayilk, which is in Iran, and inside the ziggurat itself there has been pottery found, such as this piece right here. You can see it's still intact. All right, let's wrap this up. So today we did geography. We learned about prehistory, artifacts, archaeologists, anthropologists, culture, paleontologists, fossils, arty, Meriliki, Laetoli, footprints, hominids, Homo erectus, Neanderthal, Cro-Magnons, hunter-gatherers, nomads, Stone Age, Paleolithic, and Stone Age, Neolithic. So next up, you're going to complete U1-L4, 5 main characteristics of civilization Google Slides. After that, you are going to watch U1-L5, the rise of agriculture and puzzle. There's also next week, just a heads up, there's an extra credit opportunity. Because Constitution Day is next week and I'm required to teach about it, I decided to make it into an extra credit thing. It is optional to do, but hey, it's a great way to boost your grade really early in the semester. So look for that next week. There's also the weekly check-in, which is optional, but I do enjoy them. And of course, if you have questions, comments, or simply want to learn more, please let me know. I am here to help you out. All right, thanks for watching. Bye.